Hey everybody. So it was just announced this morning who will be moderating the first Democratic debates to be held later this month. And you want to know who they are? Lester Holt, okay. Chuck Todd, also known as Sleepy Eyes Chuck Todd. Jose Diaz Balart, Savannah Guthrie, and drumroll, Rachel Maddow. Wow. Fantastic choice. So now we know that the first Democratic debates, and remember there are going to be two of them held on consecutive nights, broken up into two debate settings because of the number of candidates. But Rachel Maddow is going to be moderating these debates. And anybody who's even faintly familiar with what Rachel Maddow has been up to for the past several years knows that she has a burning and uninhibited desire to ask about one issue and one issue only. And that would be Russia. And when I say Russia, that encompasses Mueller, impeachment, interference, all the multitudinous facets of the broader Russian narrative I kind of envelop under that banner. And Rachel Maddow is going to be asking about all of that. Maybe she'll throw a bone to people who have interest in other subjects, but you should have zero doubt that that's going to be top of mind for her. So what's the dynamic going to be? Well, the candidates, knowing that this is a priority for Rachel, are going to end up competing amongst one another to outflank the others on how quote-unquote tough they can be on Russia. So they're going to accuse Trump of cozying up to Putin, potentially being compromised, of destroying U.S. democracy in ways that are never quite defined by virtue of his supposedly nefarious relationship with Russia. You know all the talking points, and those are going to be on full display and with extra vigor on this debate. And they probably would have been anyway, but Rachel Maddow's presence just utterly guarantees it. So if you thought at any point that the Russian narrative was dying down or it was going away, or we were going to move beyond this somehow, no. It's just going to intensify, especially as impeachment chatter intensifies. And I know I've been saying this over and over again, but people have to get it through their heads because it's going to be a dominant theme of the primary campaign. And every candidate basically is on the same page on this issue other than Tulsi and, Mike Gravel, I guess, although he's probably not going to be allowed on the debate stage. Bernie Sanders has a somewhat less belligerent attitude toward Russia overall, at least compared to other Democratic candidates, but even he, as I've discussed, has validated aspects of the conspiracy narrative. So it's all going to be about, who can be toughest on Trump in relation to Russia, and the incentives in the party are such that the candidates calculate that the voters crave someone who can be the toughest on the Russia issue, whether that's demanding impeachment, whether it's taking foreign policy actions to blunt the supposedly, world dominating ambitions of Putin, which is silly, whether it's inflating the threat posed by interference and making a big stink out of Facebook memes and Twitter trolls that were supposedly directed by Russia to destroy the American Republic in 2016. And that's going to be what this is all about. So, on the one hand, I do think it's actually laudable in a way that the DNC has made the started the debates much earlier this cycle than they did in 2016, and has made them more prominent, and has opened them up so that most, if not all, of the candidates will probably have an opportunity to participate, notwithstanding how low in the polls they are. the same time, they're kind of poisoning the well by throwing Rachel Maddow in there. Not that the others are particularly great. I think Chuck Todd is the most lame-brained of the Sunday show anchors, so the main network TV politics shows on Sunday. Chuck Todd often has difficulty formulating coherent sentences, I find, and he doesn't have much in the way of intelligence, at least in terms of his ability to formulate compelling and probing questions. He often trips over his words. It's just bizarre that he's in the position that he's in. Whereas at least the other anchors can comport themselves competently. I actually think Margaret Brennan on Face the Nation on CBS is the best of the bunch. Not that she's perfect, but she at least is just competent on a baseline level, whereas Chuck Todd is not. And then Lester Holt, Jose Diaz-Balart, Savannah Guthrie. I mean, they're TV celebrities who masquerade as journalists. They don't even really masquerade as it. They're just imbued with the perception that they're somehow operating in a journalistic capacity, which is really not what they do. They put on an entertainment performance for the masses, which, the masses deserve to be entertained if that's what they want after a hard day's work, but they're not the most suited people to be moderating a presidential debate. It's really embarrassing that the people who we elevate to these positions, meaning debate moderators, tend to be TV celebrities rather than people who are more conventionally, maybe not conventionally, but more primed to actually ask incisive journalistic questions. So I'd prefer people to be given this position who have a background in written journalism, who have demonstrated a capacity to actually be adversarial in a way that's rational and composed. And that really doesn't apply to this cast of characters that NBC has selected in conjunction with the DNC. So it's going to be a joke. Tulsi in particular, he's probably going to be made out to look like a total crank as a result of Rachel Maddow's presence, as she probably would have been anyway, given how she's been treated by NBC News and MSNBC. So that's just what she's got to deal with. She can probably leverage that into an advantage if she handles it correctly, because as she's detected and as she's been more vocal about discussing in recent weeks, there's a lot of antipathy toward the media, not just on the Trump supporting segments of the political spectrum, but on the left and the middle and everywhere between. There's a rightful aversion to how the media operates. So can she capitalize on that if she is unjustly maligned in these debates? I think there's a potential for that. Bernie could probably do the same thing because he also has critiques of corporate media and the vanity and triviality of how most in the media tend to cover politics. So there's opportunity there, or a silver lining. It just depends how they're able to make use of it. But anyway, I just wanted to give a quick update on that, and I'll talk to you later.